So I was walking my dog the other day and I passed by this mailbox, and it's at this house where there's just lots of like lawn ornaments and just really colorful flowers and all sorts of stuff. And in this kind of like bubbly font on the mailbox, it said, "All you need is love," from the Beatles song. And it really hit me because that hasn't been what I've been thinking about. You know, all I could be thinking about was, all I need is that latest camera. And I think that a lot of videographers can relate to that feeling, especially here in springtime when there's lots of new camera releases and you're always kind of like insecure about what the camera gear that you're using right now because it's not the latest and greatest. And I think this video is gonna help you, because what I've kind of found is I usually don't need that new camera, and it's really just a lot of advertisements that's really hitting me and kind of like forcing that sort of thing on me. So these are a couple of tips and tricks of how to love your old camera. I spend so much time watching gear reviews, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you can relate to that. And honestly, it's a lot of time spent that I could be doing other things, whether that's relaxing, whether that's spending time with family, spending time with people around me, or, you know, even just working on my business, you know, reaching out to businesses to see if they want videos, responding to leads, reaching out to old clients, editing social media little clips. You know, there's so many things that I could be doing to improve my business that would actually be generating revenue. Instead, I spend all my time looking at gear reviews, thinking that a new camera, oh, that will really change my business, but that's not really the case. In fact, the time that I spent looking at cameras usually could have been better spent just improving my business. One thing that I think about recently is I would never hire somebody to spend the amount of time that I do looking at gear reviews to buy cameras. Let's say if I had a business and I wanted to spend, you know, $3,000 on some new gear, how much would I be willing to spend to hire them to kind of make the right decision for that purchase? And the truth is probably, you know, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, heck, maybe 4 or 5 hours. But I wouldn't want to hire them for days to be looking at, you know, different reviews. And if I wouldn't be willing to hire somebody to do that, why would I be willing to do that for my business? So it just kind of doesn't make that much sense of the amount of time that I spend looking at gear reviews. One thing that helps me love my old camera is to just look at my bank account. That might be funny, but what I mean by that is, you know, a lot of these new releases come out in spring, and it's just coming off of the slow season in winter, and so I don't have a ton of money to invest in new equipment, and so it's probably better for me to just hold off on looking at all the gear reviews that are coming out and just wait until I have money to spend to invest in new cameras and research then. A lot of times it's not good to go into debt for a new camera, because if the shoots that I'm getting right now aren't able to help me afford that new camera, then likely those shoots after I get that camera aren't gonna help afford that either. A lot of clients might really like that you upgraded to a new camera, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna pay you more because you have that camera. One thing that's been helping me is to look back at the video reviews of the cameras I already have. And that might sound funny, but when I bought my cameras, there's obviously lots of reviews out there that really inspired me to buy the gear that I do have now. And looking back on that gear reviews tends to give me nostalgia about when I bought these cameras and remind me of all the things that are capable with these cameras and all the great features that it came with. And honestly, it makes me think, wow, there's actually a lot more I can do with the current equipment that I have. A lot of videographers tend to think of buying new equipment as a business decision, and sometimes videographers can get into the wrong mindset of thinking that the gear that they own is actually their differentiating factor, which just means what separates them from other videographers. And the truth is there's a lot of videographers out there who have probably the exact same gear that you have. And so thinking of your gear as a differentiating factor isn't really the case. There's actually lots of different things that differentiate you from your competition. And so oftentimes a lot of those things are skills. They're more of like those soft skills that you learn over time, how to frame a shot, how to light a shot, and you know, even sometimes business skills, you know, responding well to clients' issues, clients' problems, communicating effectively. Some of those things are skills that you have that actually differentiate you from other people who might not have those, but they still have the same gear that you have. And so it's important to remember that the thing that makes you different isn't your gear, it's you. One way you can love your old camera is by reframing your gear issues into problems you can actually solve. And I think a lot of videographers tend to blame their own gear rather than think creatively on how to solve the problems that they face in a shoot. One example of this is, let's say you shot a shoot and you got some footage that was a little bit more grainy than you would have liked because you were in a low light situation. And you might just go, oh man, it's because I have such an old camera. But if you were to reframe that and say, hey, why did I get grainy footage? And what can I do in future shoots to make sure that I don't get grainy footage? You know, some solutions might be, hey, I could have brought this light that I had in my case or in my car over and just spent that extra couple minutes, grabbed those lights, a battery, and lit the scene better. Or maybe it might be, hey, I should have switched out to that prime lens. I would have got better low light performance in that situation. Or maybe it might be, hey, I should have put a light on top of my camera. You know, just trying out different ways you could have approached that situation. Or maybe it's move the people to a better lit location to film that shot. Thinking creatively allows you to actually improve your skills rather than constantly just blame your equipment for your mistakes. And blaming your equipment often leads you to not grow as a videographer. And so actually taking the time to think about the problems that you're facing and think creatively about solutions, about what you can do in the future to avoid those problems, that's what's really gonna grow you as a videographer. Sometimes just buying some support equipment might solve some of your issues. You know, whether it's audio, whether it's lighting, whether it's you know, new tripod, maybe new batteries, whatever it is, sometimes just buying some of those accessories actually ends up solving the problems that you're having with your current equipment, and will be significantly cheaper than buying a several $1,000 new camera. One thing that I love to do is take my old camera out and just go take some photos with it on a walk. I like to call this kind of like a photo walk. And if it's a video camera, you can just take it out and take some video clips of stuff around your city. And I find that this is very non-stressful and allows me to be really creative and find new ways to use the equipment that I already have and create something new. A lot of the times when I get stuck in that rut of, I need something better, I'm not actually thinking about the ways that I shoot with the equipment. I'm just thinking about, you know, specs and things on a sheet, and that has nothing to do with the way that I actually shoot for things. So in a lot of ways, just getting out there and shooting something tends to make me enjoy my old equipment way more. So thanks for watching. I hope that this video made you love your old camera, because all you need is love. I hope that you just learn to enjoy the things that you have. Be content with things rather than always searching for what's next. and wanting that newest equipment, because that ends up actually killing your joy. And so just enjoy the things that you got and go create something awesome.